Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chief Justice Jimmy Blacklock.
Fellow Republicans, delegates, it's an honor to be with you. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I was a delegate myself many times. I've been in your position. I know what this involves, and I want to thank each and every one of you for what you're doing for our party and our state this week. And I'd like to thank two delegates in particular who are very special to me. They're the reason I'm here. They're in Senate District 10. Where is Senate District 10? They're my parents, Talk and Polly Blacklock. Thank you. I love you. I'm so proud of my heritage and my history as a Blacklock. And I'm also so proud of a heritage that we all share together, that I share with you. Our heritage as Texans, as Americans, and as participants in the great traditions of Western civilization that have been handed down to us over the generations. We have been given a priceless heritage of liberty under the rule of law, a heritage of limited constitutional government, a heritage of faith and of family. Defending those beautiful traditions, that priceless heritage, against those who would denigrate them and tear them down, that is why I believe we're here today. That's why the Republican Party exists, to honor and defend and preserve the cultural heritage, the constitutional heritage, the religious heritage that was built for us by our forefathers, to keep alive for posterity the flame of Christian civilization that was carried into the wilderness by our ancestors, to conserve all that is good and true and beautiful about this mighty and prosperous country, now almost 250 years old, which by the miracle of God's providence has been preserved and entrusted to us. That is what the Republican Party is for. I know it's why I am here, and I believe it's why you're here too. We all have a role to play in the defense of what we love. You're playing your role by being here this week and by supporting our candidates. As Chief Justice, my role is to lead the court as we follow the laws given to us by you. Our job at the court is to enforce the laws just as they are written by the legislature, not as we would like them to have been written. And our job is to enforce the Constitution, not based on what we want it to say, but based on what the words of the Constitution meant to our ancestors who consented to be governed by them. That's called originalism. And in Texas, under this Supreme Court, originalism is the law. There is no living constitution in the state of Texas. Now, you may know that the Texas Supreme Court does other things besides just decide cases. And one of the things we do is we oversee legal education and the licensing of lawyers. One of the first things on my agenda when I became Chief Justice was to put an end to the American Bar Association's control over legal education in Texas. You know, until very recently, the ABA was trying to force every law school in the country to adopt aggressive DEI policies. They were using their power to accredit and approve law schools to coerce the schools to promote left-wing political ideas. They were doing that all over the country. But in Texas, your Supreme Court said no. And we didn't just ask the ABA nicely to change their minds. We cut ties with them completely. And because of the court's action, today the ABA has no power in the state of Texas. It gets better. After Texas cut off the ABA, Florida followed. And then Ohio. And then other states announced that they were looking at it. And just a few weeks ago, the ABA announced that all across the country it is abandoning its DEI mandates. So law schools all over the country are going to be freed from those mandates because your Texas Supreme Court led the way. Another action I want to share with you has to do with judges performing marriages. So our Judicial Conduct Commission in the state of Texas had prosecuted a couple of Christian judges who politely declined to perform same-sex marriages. And the court decided we'd had enough of that. We added a provision to the Texas Code of Judicial Conduct to make it very clear that a Texas judge with religious convictions against same-sex marriage has every right to respectfully decline to perform them and to continue performing only traditional marriages. Back on the topic of the lawsuits that we decide, you may have heard that the court a while back upheld the law that the legislature enacted banning transgender treatments for children. The court was asked whether the Texas Constitution protects a right to pursue those treatments. And all kinds of prominent groups, including the American Medical Association, said that it does. And if you're noticing a trend with the American Bar Association and the American Medical Association, you're right. But remember what I said earlier about how we interpret the Texas Constitution. We ask what it meant to the people who ratified it, which in this case meant asking whether Texans in 1876 thought they were enshrining a right to that kind of a thing. And when you ask the question that way, the answer is obviously no. I wrote an opinion that makes this point, and the opinion explains why, no matter what the American Medical Association or anybody else says, the people of Texas have every right to enact laws based on the traditional vision of what it means to be human, created in God's image, male and female. And I don't want to just tell you about that opinion that I wrote. I'd like to show you. If you'll come by my booth, we have a copy of that opinion for everybody who'd like to have it, and I hope you'll read it. And it's a way to see your Supreme Court and your Constitution in action. Please come get a copy at my booth out in the exhibition hall. Let me close with something that may not be familiar to you, but I hope you remember it. It's the official motto of the Texas Supreme Court, and it's in Latin. Sicut patribus, sit Deus nobis. It means, may God be with us as he was with our fathers. My friends, as we move forward to November, let's be a party that stands united for the preservation of our heritage and the defense of our Constitution. Let's put away the attacks on each other. Let's stand together for the truth. Let's do it with joy and love and gratitude in our hearts. Let's vote all the way down the ballot for every judge. Let's win in November. And let's do it not just for ourselves, but for those who came before us and for those who will come after. For now, let's just have a great convention. And as we do all of these things, may God be with us as he was with our fathers. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Texas. Have a great convention.